when he said something like, oh, cheers, Anna. Thanks for that. When he said something about if your day is unpredictable, you'll never get success, right? Success is so difficult when to achieve when your day is unpredictable. So if you wait, and it's a Jim Rohn quote actually, where he says, if you don't run the day runs you. And I'm sure we can all relate to that, where you get up in the morning sometimes and you've no direction, you don't know what you're doing, you kind of roll back over, go back to sleep for a bit, hit the snooze button or whatever. And like you just go with the flow throughout the day and you don't really get anything done. So I think all the podcasts that we've listened to and everything that we've been going through over the last few weeks, it's all geared up to living with purpose, right? Having a purpose, having a goal, and then achieving that. And the morning routine is so, so important. And I know when I've had like a kind of go through the day doing whatever day, where it just kind of goes with the flow, you're never really as productive. You never get stuff done. But when I'm what I call a peak performance day, like a 10 out of 10 day, where you're like, yes, I absolutely smashed the day. I won the day. It's because I won the morning. So I just wrote down, and someone mentioned it there in the chat, the rituals, getting stuff done, getting your rituals and your routines and your rules ready, because that will power you through the day. And I just put down some of my stuff. So first thing I do in the morning is I have a herbal tea. I do my journaling and plan if I've not planned the night before. I walk the dog. I exercise. I have a coffee then after the gym and then start to do the work, like put the phone on. Now, there has been times where I'll wake up sometimes and the first thing I'll do is look at my WhatsApp messages or I'll look at my Instagram, and you feel like you feel like you're getting pulled out of your routine already. So you have to have these routines, but you need to set them up for you to be successful, because when you do that, you're more likely to stick to the routine. And then the rules that he talked about, there was some amazing stuff. The one about traveling, when he lands in a new place, he always goes to the gym straight away. He doesn't get in bed, as some people do. They get straight to the hotel or they go straight to the bar. I've been guilty of that one. So getting straight to the gym, go straight to the gym, get a workout in, that really sets you up. And I think the key to all this stuff, guys, is being really, really disciplined with it, because you need to create a habit for your morning routine, which will then allow you to continue to build momentum throughout the day. Everything's about momentum. This whole business is about momentum. You getting in the shape of your life is about momentum. There's no like stationary period. You're either moving forward with upwards momentum towards your goals, or unfortunately, you're moving in a downward spiral with negative momentum. And it always starts with that morning routine if you're going to build up upwards momentum in your day, which allows you to win the morning, you win the day. And if you win the day, you keep winning the day, you end up winning the week. You have a really productive week. Then you have a really productive month and so on, and you get where you want to be. So it all kind of ties into this 90-day game plan, being disciplined about when you turn your phone off, being disciplined about what you listen to before you go to bed at night. These rules and rituals. We could talk about all this stuff forever, but it really does set you up for success. And the people that are successful in this business, they have a real structure. I've always kind of shied away a little bit from structure and routine. It was sort of like I always used to say, oh, I hate structure and I hate routine, but now I've realized that I actually love it and I need it, because without that, it is so easy to go off track. So actually, and we talk a lot about freedom in this business, structure and routine gives you freedom, because there's no better feeling than your head touching the pillow at night and you go, yes, I did everything that I said I was going to do today. I've won the day. I'm moving forward. I'm progressing in my business. I'm progressing with my mindset, and I'm progressing with my fitness and health challenges and stuff. And that is the key to it all, really. Human beings we're at our happiest when we are growing and we are contributing. Those are the two key things. If you're growing and you're contributing, I guarantee you won't even have to worry about the money, because the money will come naturally, because you're serving other people. But you can't serve other people if you're not serving yourself. So for me, the morning routine, getting that right, is what sets you up. That's like plugging your energy pack in, right? You're setting yourself up for success to win the day. So let me bring Emma on in a second. I'm just going to roll through a few of these. The 3 R's: routine is everything. Routine, rituals, rules, leaving your phone out of the way for family time. Love that one. I mean, how many times do you get that look when you go on your phone when you're meant to be being present with the family? I mean, even my dog knows when I'm on the phone when I shouldn't be. He starts trying to get the phone out of my hand. So yeah, getting shit done. You can change your emotional state in an instant. Totally true. I think exercising, just breaking that pattern is so important to that as well. If you want to get your mood back up, going out for a walk, going to the gym, getting some fresh air, listening to an audio book while you're exercising, or some high energy music really does flip your mood. You can change it straight away, and then you can build on that. That's the great thing. The notification thing as well. Yeah, I think a lot of this stuff, you've got to remember that this is his routine and this is about his life. So when I heard that bit, I was like, well, I can't turn all my notifications off. I need to keep the essential ones on. But little things like turning the news notification off, do you really need that? Do you really need a reminder when something bad's happened in the world? No, you don't. What is it going to do? It's going to take you off track. So delete the stuff that isn't going to take you towards your goal, the stuff that's going to be a distraction for you. But some notification you obviously need on, if Facebook groups and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, get structure in your day, guys. Create your own morning ritual, and it will definitely help you. So Emma, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you're good. Yeah, the notifications one made me laugh, because I remember there was a time in the business where loads of people said, oh, you should never have your notifications on. And I was like, guys, we're running a social media business here. Turn your notifications off, you might as well turn your business off. But there are certain times where, like, for example, I'll come into the crux of the podcast in a minute, but there are certain times, like, for example, where if I want to get something done, maybe you're doing a presentation for an event, maybe you've got something in your personal life that needs to get done, I don't just turn my notifications off, I just stick my phone on airplane mode or turn it off. It's not going to implode if you switch it off, It has an off button, the whole phone, not just the snooze thing. So if you need to be focused on something for a while, then just switch it off and get the job done that you need to get done, and then switch it back on. So one of the things that is that he talks about that I have always had in my life, right? And I don't know what I'm trying to think whether it's probably a rule, really, and it comes into the 3 R's that he talks about there, is that I use my phone answer machine like a secretary. And I learned this when I was in my corporate job, right? Because we're very reactionary, aren't we? We react to everything, react to the inbox, react to the mail, react to the phone call. And so when I was working in an office, someone said to me, just let the phone ring. You have an answering machine. It will, if it's important, they'll leave a message, and then you can get back to them when you're ready. Because nobody's ringing you to say, hey, Emma, is there anything I can do for you? Right? Everybody's messaging you because they want, especially in that environment at work, right? Because they want you to do something for them. Can you help me with this? Can you sort this out for me? Can you, right? Generally speaking, very few people, or they're ringing to time steal, right? Ringing for a chat. And you might be busy doing something else. So you've got to have, and all of the key to all of this that I think is discipline, right? You can have all the routines and all the things. Your biggest rule of all should be to keep the rituals and routines that you create and be disciplined about them. And create the ones that work for you. As John said, it's not necessarily the ones that work for him. Like and some of that stuff I think is great, but when you've got young kids, it's not always realistic to say, I'm going to do this, that, and the other, and I'm going to stick to it like glue, because when you're a mom or a parent, you've got to be a little bit more flexible around things. But also my rule would be, as my kids are older, that I don't let them rule my day for me. And right, because a lot of people like use their kids as an excuse for why they can't do anything. I can't because I've got kids, I'm really busy, because I get it is busy, don't get me wrong, I get it, right? I know. But if we react to everything all the time and don't have any structure in place for, you know, when you're on a call, for example, I'll tell you what my rule is on a Zoom call. My camera's on. You will never see a Zoom call with me with my camera's off. Because if my camera's off, I'm not focusing on it. I bet now, and this is not picking on anybody, but I bet there's half of you doing your DMO while you're on this call, on your phone. You might as well not be on the call at all, right? If you're going to do, not saying that you all are, but if you might, because for me, if I'm trying to do two things at once, I do half-assed job at both. Do you know what I mean? So if I'm on a training call or a call where I'm, you know, listening in, then I'm using these, not these. And that's a rule for me. I'm not saying it has to be a rule for you. That's a rule for me. The other thing, because I speak on a lot of calls, I know how important it is to feel the energy from your audience, right? It's really, really important to give that energy to the people that are taking their time out to speak to you, because I can do this too. I can talk like that. I can talk to you with my camera off and you can still hear me, but it's nowhere near as engaging, is it? Right? So when someone has their camera on, we're engaged with them. We're listening to what they're saying, we're hearing, and I'm engaging with you. So that's my rule, right? And you can call me out on it. One day I probably won't have it on. You'll be like, you said you always had your camera on, but I do, right? Hopefully you experience that with me. My camera is always on. So you know I'm really here, right? You know I'll tell you a funny story once. I did this once, right? My team know that. It's not a rule, right? You know, no one's your boss. You get to choose. These are your own rules. But I kind of have a team rule where if you can have your camera on, then do, right? Because it's nice for me and nice for speakers. One time I left the call running and I didn't turn it off, right? And I didn't do it deliberately. I went away to do something else and I came back and there was about 4 people that were still on the thing, who obviously had never been on it in the first place, or certainly weren't there at the end, but because I hadn't turned it off, they were still like sitting like the thing on, but they weren't even there, right? Because I used to do that at work. I used to put my coat on the back of the chair and bugger off for like breakfast or whatever, right? It's like showing up but not showing up. Anyway, so these are some of my rules because they help me to show up better, to serve better, to add more value. What I loved about that podcast for me personally was I do a lot of this stuff already. I've already implemented a lot of those things, but what really helped me was it made me refine it a little bit more, because I remember saying to John, when I listened to the podcast, I was like, right, when I journal tonight, I'm going to write out what my rituals and routines and rules are so that I'm clear. Shouldn't take me very long. I know what they are. I've got them nailed down. But when I actually sat down to write them down, what were my rituals? What were my routines? I was like, oh, actually, they're not as nailed on as I thought. Maybe they're a little bit more wishy-washy than I thought. Maybe they're not quite as, so it's really made me be much more like clear about what is my morning routine. Now, as a mum, mine varies a little bit depending sometimes, but I'll tell you one of the things I do that he does is I plan my routine the night before, right? So those of you who get on calls with me or work with me will know, like, this is my diary, right? You probably can't see it very well, but I have everything written out. 6 till 7, 7 till 8, 8 till 9, 9 till 10, 10 till 11, 11 till 12, all the way through till bed, right? All the way through, like a hairdresser's diary, I call it, but it's not, it's just a diary. And everything, and this is probably one of my routine rituals, I don't know, planning it out, everything goes in there. Have a shower, wash your hair, get dressed, get the kids up, get on the Zoom call, do the whatever, everything goes in there. Because then I can see exactly when someone says to me, can I have a one-to-one? I'm like, sure, yeah, let me grab my diary, I'll tell you when I'm free. Can we do an opportunity call? Yeah, sure. Let me grab my diary. I'll tell you when I'm free. Can you speak on this call? Yeah, sure. Let me grab my diary. Can we go for a coffee? Yeah, right. So I can see straight away when I can do something, when I can't. And honestly, my mum said to me, that's not very flexible, is it? And I said, it's the opposite. It's incredibly flexible because I'm my own boss, as are all of us when it comes to our Juice Plus business. So I can decide if I want to change that, but that's the rule or the ritual the routine is doing that the night before. Right, so that really helps me massively. But the general thing I think about all of this is that we are all individuals with individual lives, and you've got to put rituals and routines and spend some time thinking about what they are, not necessarily what you wish they were, because what works for somebody else isn't always going to be what works for you. And also they'll change, right? When my kids were 3 and 5, when I started this business, my life was different to what it is now when they're 13 and 15. So my rituals, routines and rules probably need to be a little bit adjusted as we go along, right? Because my demands on my time are different. But what I would focus on is, what do you want the output of those rituals, routines and rules to be? What's the purpose of them? Sometimes we do things just because some guru told us we should, right? Sometimes we do things just because that's what we think is going to be the secret to success. But ultimately, it's not the thing, it's the output of the thing that's important. Having a morning routine. Okay, I'm going to have a morning routine because John said I needed a morning routine and that's going to make me a millionaire or whatever. Actually, what's the purpose of your morning routine? What's it for? Do you want to go to work feeling refreshed and revitalized and ready for the day, rather than like running in the door with your 2 different shoes on and your makeup half on and your hair a mess and all that kind of stuff, right? What rules have you got? So again, it's a bit like a DMO. I don't have a very big DMO. I have about 3 or 4 things on it because they're like my must-dos, right? So my rules are things like, I'm the same. I don't ever snooze my phone. I snooze my phone through the day, by the way, because if I want to, I use it for everything. So I'll snooze it to make sure that until I've done the thing. But in terms of getting up in the morning, my alarm goes off. I'm usually awake before it anyway, and my feet hit the floor and I'm up. I don't answer my phone, like I said before. I use it like a secretary. I'll get back to them when I'm ready. That is a time saver, let me tell you, right? Using your phone as an answering machine. I don't drink. Absolute rule, right? Definitely. That rule changed my life 2 and a bit years ago, right? That's a personal one for me. I'm not saying nobody else can do that, right? You decide what you want to do. I don't drink. I don't do negativity, and I don't do drama in my own life, in my business, right? These are things I've learned as I've gone along. I used to drink, and I used to snooze, and I used to answer my phone, and I used to do drama and negativity and get involved in all of it. I don't do them because they did not serve me. Does that make sense? So the rules that I have came from realizing the habits that I had that didn't serve me and didn't take me in the direction that I wanted to go in. So that's what became my rules. And I was like, this thing isn't serving me very well. Going out, drinking, feeling rubbish all weekend isn't serving me very well. So I'm going to stop doing that. Another rule I have is just to let it be. Honestly, whatever the hell it is, just let it be. And that, even just saying it, calms me down. Just let it be, right? So those things are rules. They might be so completely different to what your rules might be. But a good place to start is, what are the habits that you have that you like, that serve you well? Have them as a rule so they become more disciplined about them. What are the habits that you have that don't serve you very well? Create the opposite and make it a rule. But if it's a rule, my friends, in this circumstance, rules are not there to be broken, right? So have 3 rules rather than 30, because 30 you're not going to keep. 3 or 4 you will, right? And those rules will serve you. And then the last thing from me that I think really helped me as well was winning the day. I like to chunk things down into manageable. Like, somebody will say to me something about, next week, and I think, oh God, I just need to get through today. I can't think about next week. I have my diary and I'll put it in there. But if you go fast forward that today and tomorrow, fast forward to next week, where are we? Yeah, next Monday and Tuesday, there's hardly anything in there because I haven't planned that far ahead, right? When I'll get to filling that in. So I like to chunk things down into manageable things. So I want to win today, right? And tomorrow I'll get up in the morning and I'll want to win tomorrow. I'll go to bed tonight. I'll make sure that I've got everything planned out so that I can win tomorrow, but I'm not worrying about tomorrow today. Today is win today, because I know if I win today, I'll go to bed feeling accomplished, and I'll wake up tomorrow morning. I'll go through my morning routine, right? Everyone has whatever theirs is. Mine is exercising before I do anything else, for example, right? So creating that, chunking it down. If I win today, and I love that bit when he said it, and I listened to it over and over, and you win today, then you'll win the week. But actually, if you win today, and then you win tomorrow, and then you win the next week, then you'll win the week. Then you'll win the month. Then you'll win the year. And then you'll win your life. But sometimes, depending on what you've got going on, sometimes you just need to win the hour. right? When you've got a stressed out life and things are going crazy and the kids are driving you mad and your boss is a twat and your husband's like, nah, 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 and the kids are like, it's like, oh my God, I just need to win this hour. Or I'm just going to lose this hour. When you lose an hour, it doesn't mean you have to lose the whole day, right? Sometimes I have a shit day. No, I don't. Not anymore. I have a terrible hour, right? I mean, when people go, oh, I'm having an awful day. Well, no, you're not. You're having an awful hour. Don't write off the whole day because 10 o'clock was bad, right? Let that hour be an hour that you lose, but you can win the rest of the day. So for me, that really helps because I can get overwhelmed really easily, right? With things. I can get overwhelmed with demands on my time. I can get overwhelmed with feeling like I need to be in charge of everything. I'm a bit of a control freak. Oh, you know, I'm one of those people that goes, I'll do it myself. It'll be quicker. By the time I've told you what I want you to do, be quicker to do. Right? It can be overwhelming. So chunk it down if you need to. But I hope that helps a little bit. The only thing I would say is it's worth spending a little, because I thought I knew this stuff until I sat down and wrote out mine. So do that if you haven't done it yet. Sit down and work out and do it separately. What is my routine? And I have a bedtime routine as well, like a child, right? I've gone back to being like a baby and it's actually helped me massively. So and everybody knows it now as well. I start going to bed at 10 o'clock. Hands up if you like, here's the difference between, and I'm going to be very sexist here, the difference between men and women, right? A man says, I'm going to bed and goes to bed. Yes? Pushes his teeth, goes to bed. Women, we go, I'm going to bed. We empty the dishwasher, we put the washing machine on, we take the tumble dryer out, we sort the uniforms out, we empty the packed lunches, we write the list for tomorrow. And my kids go to me, I thought you were going to bed. Like, I am. This is me going to bed, doing all of these things before I go, right? You know what I mean, girls, right? My husband goes, I'm going to bed, and then he's in bed. And I'm like, what? What is this life, right? So my bedtime routine, if I start going to bed at 11, I'm not going to be in bed till 12 because I'm doing all that shit, right? So I have to start at 10 so that my rule of being in bed for 11 happens. And then I sleep by 12, gives me a little bit of flex. But you see what I mean? So it's like, I've created this thing now where, so if Mike says, do you want to watch some telly? And it's like 9:30, I'm like, well, I can, but I'm going to bed at 10. He's like, 10? Why? Do you see what I mean? So, but I just told people I need to be asleep by 11. If I'm going to get up at 6 and exercise, I've got to be in bed for 11 or 12. I need to be asleep for 12. Whatever works for you. Those of you who know me well will know that, like last year and the year before, I wasn't going to bed till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Right, I was up with the kids. I was literally like, and I was overweight. I was unhappy. I was tired. I was grumpy because I wasn't sleeping. And if you're not sleeping, so have a rule around sleep, whatever it might be, because when you sleep better, doesn't everything go better when you've had a good night's sleep? Definitely, right? So those things for me, rule is around making sure I get a good night's sleep now because I wasn't doing that. Anyway, I've talked for far too long. I found it very useful. Get yourselves organized. I promise you don't have two big things. Small routine, small rituals, some rules, and the overarching thing around the top is discipline. Pick what they are and stick to them and just do it for a month and see how you get on, and then you can tweak them.
Amazing, Emma. Thank you so much. I think the thing that comes out of this as well, and we talk all the time about this, is making it a priority. Like, you have, if you really want to nail this, you've got to make it a priority. So say, right, it might be as soon as we've ended this call, you actually start writing it now, like strike while the iron is hot, you write your rituals, your routines, because you're getting it done. The people that are successful in this business, they make it the calls are. It's a little bit like someone's birthday that's really important to you. You wouldn't do it because it's a priority. You know when their birthday is. It's like you need to know when the calls are. You need to know the next event is. Building towards these things, and it's all these morning routines and rituals that will take you along that journey. So yeah, it was amazing podcast, and it was quite a good one because it was short as well. So it was just insightful info, just straight to the point. Have we got one for next week?
I have got one if you haven't, but I'll put it in the group later on.
Okay, perfect.
Is everybody in the WhatsApp, by the way? Because that's where, because what I thought about that WhatsApp group was, and it was John's idea, so I won't steal it, but that you could chat in there during the week if you wanted. like, you know, like about what the podcast is. It doesn't always have to be just what me, and obviously it's that we can't get everybody to speak on this Zoom call, but you can use the chat during the week to have conversations amongst ourselves around like, oh, I love this bit, or I love that bit, or whatever, so that you can have more conversation as the week goes on about those things in the WhatsApp chat if you want to. You don't have to, but I just thought it'd be a nice place for those of us who are getting on this call every week to be able to kind of participate a little bit more in the chat around the content of the podcast, if you like. And then what will happen is more people will see the chat and then they'll be like, I'm going to go and watch that or listen to that now because I want to participate in the conversation. But I just wanted to say, for me, thank you so much to everybody who is getting on these calls and listening to the podcasts and stuff. And it's been really beneficial for me too to do these every single week, and it's lovely to kind of share that with like-minded folk who also want to like live better and be better and feel better and all of that stuff. So I think it's yeah, remember to share it with your new teammates as well, because we're all signing up lots of new people into the business right now. So make sure that they know that this is something that they can tap into as well. And if you are new, hello. Right, I'm off. John's frozen in his cupboard.
Opportunity.
Yeah.
In a bit.
You're frozen, John. We're gonna go. I think you've seen the opportunity calls at 10:30 in the morning if you want to jump on there, or invite your potentials. We'll see you in the morning or next week back here. See you later. Bye for now.